Hello and welcome to the Blues Kind Show, the show for kind blues. One of my goals on the channel is to help fans when the going gets a bit tough. And as Carlton fans, that happens maybe more than we'd otherwise like. And as blues fans, we don't always react the best as a collective group. Not saying everyone, but, you know, there's those amongst us. But even myself, I wouldn't say that I always react the best. I don't do any of the particularly bad stuff, but I think, you know, the amount of stress that I cause myself sometimes, not the best. So I thought that I'd start with something a bit lower stakes in my desire to maybe, you know, lend a helping hand to other blues with relation to the stress that this team sometimes caused us. And that low stakes thing for mine is getting through the trade period. I just want to say at the outset, if you're here for a trade update or anything like that, this is not the video for you. These are 3 very sincere tips and tricks that you could use to help get you through what can be a bit of an anxiety producing period. With all the different sort of rumors and contradictory reports and people tossing their 2 cents in, it can be a lot sometimes. Bit of information overload, bit of thinking that some things people say are a bit full of garbage. So, look, the free agency period starts on the 3rd of October, this Friday, and the trade period starts on the 6th of October, which is next Monday. And the entire period wraps up on the 15th of October. So we have a 12-day period to get through, and it hasn't even started. I'm in a blues group chat with over 50 people. There might actually be over 100, but I haven't checked the numbers recently. And the lack of chill in there, while it is amusing, I think does reflect that a lot of people can be quite on edge with regard to the trade period. To be clear, I'm a massive nuffy. Massive. I don't think it's a surprise that I'm a nuffy, given I've literally started a Carlton Football Club like fan appreciation YouTube. I don't think it should be a surprise that I think about this stuff a lot, and I am a bit obsessed. Bit obsessed. So this definitely applies to me. I wouldn't be giving advice that I wouldn't also take myself. Given that the trade and free agency period hasn't started yet and people are already crashing out, if you listen to Trade Radio, SEN, or anywhere else you might be interested in, I thought a couple of tips and tricks could be of help, you know, to the blues community. But that said, if you've got any other friends that are happy to engage in a little bit of mental health work, but they don't go for Carlton, feel free to send them over this video. I think we can all say the fewer crash outs in the AFL community, the better. And frankly, while some trades are win-win, some aren't. And some trades that don't happen can be lose-lose as well. So, got a couple of things that I wanted to go over that'll hopefully make the next little period a little bit better. I wanted to start with reminding you to unplug. Take a breath, touch grass, go outside, hug your loved ones, read your favourite book, or just turn off your phone. If you can feel yourself getting a little bit wound up, you have the choice not to participate in it. As fun as this period can be, and I love it, I've almost always been one of those sickos that listens to trade radio from start to finish. This year I'm trying things a little bit differently because I can recognize that maybe I'm not cut out for that level of, frankly, nonsense. The trade period has not even begun yet. So keep in mind, you are more than entitled to unplug a few times over the next couple of weeks. There's nothing that us sitting at home can do to help what Carlton or your respective club might be doing. So putting the phone away or turning off the computer for an hour here and there, it's not going to cause anything. Nothing's going to change. Trades will still happen regardless. Compensation will be given out for free agents no matter what else you're doing. Be selective as well with when you engage, with what you engage, and with who. Got an annoying co-worker who easily gets under your skin? Maybe give them a miss for a few days if you can. Can't stand a certain segment on Trade Radio or SEN? Whack on your favourite album instead. Listen to a podcast or an audiobook. Or, just do anything rather than hate engaging with the thing that annoys you quite so much. So that's my first tip. Remember, you have the choice. You can unplug whenever you want to. The next strategy that I wanted to touch on is coping ahead. This may sound like a funny one, but I promise it's actually really effective, and it helps me personally with some harder things in life, stuff that is a bit more consequence than the trade period. So it should work here as well. The first thing you want to do is imagine the situation that you don't want to happen, whether it be us getting or losing someone that you would otherwise like us to keep or get rid of. So, if you really don't want us to lose Charlie Curnow, the first step is to imagine losing Charlie Curnow. Secondly, imagine yourself coping well with it, however that looks to you. For example, if it is a player that you don't want us to get, imagine getting that player, you're watching the game, and they make a mistake in it. And then imagine yourself just being chill about it. Not screaming, oh my gosh, this is why I didn't want that guy. Not every single time for the course of the year, picking at that player because you didn't want them in the first place. Imagine yourself coping a little bit better with it, even if it's just you not reacting at all. Even if it's you being like, oh, damn, next time. Or if what you are imagining is, seeing your favourite player, Mitch McGovern, playing for the West Coast Eagles. Yeah, let's pretend there's a big cohort of people where that's a thing. And seeing Mitch McGovern taking towering intercept marks against us, you can imagine yourself going, not really reacting to it and not being like, damn, I wish he did it for us. This coping ahead strategy doesn't mean that you have to love the negative outcome, but the point is, if you can imagine yourself reacting better than you would otherwise expect to, then you can probably live out that imagined reality where, instead of having a 10 out of 10, this is crap response, maybe it's a 5. Because the only person that gets, anything out of your negative response is you and the people around you. And given it's negative, they get something negative out of it. So if you can imagine yourself being a bit more chill, a bit more relaxed, a bit more okay with things, then you can probably live it out and, it might make your viewing experience a little bit better. The most important thing to remember with this one is that whatever emotions you feel, they are valid and fair enough. But you get to choose what you do with those emotions, how you react to the situation. So, if the thought of seeing Charlie in a Sydney Swans jumper makes you mad, that's fair enough. But you get to choose how you handle it and whether you handle it well or not. And thinking ahead, coping ahead, can just help lessen how upset it may make you. So, that's probably the most impactful one that I'm going to touch on today, but I just have one more on the way out, and that's testing your assumptions. If you think something is the end of the world, maybe ask yourself why you think it is the case. The best example I have as it relates to an AFL trade period is Ryan Griffin leaving the Dogs at the end of 2015 when they were considered a basket case. At the end of 2014, and Brett Deledio leaving the Tigers at the end of 2016. Both were club greats, both upset the fan bases quite a bit, and both teams returned to the finals immediately after, with Richmond winning the grand final the next year, and the Bulldogs winning the grand final 2 years later. Other examples are guys like Ablett Jr. leaving Geelong and Buddy leaving Hawthorn, and their teams going on to win flags the next year. Obviously, we are not in the class of the Geelong team or Hawthorn team that lost those respective superstars. But the point is, the AFL is very seldom a game for one or two guys to make all the difference, no matter how good they are. It is more important to have a good team in place, good structures in place, coaching standards, training standards, adherence to team rules. Things like that will carry you a lot further than one or two guys leaving. This does touch on something that I talk on regularly with Carlton, which is I think we will get a lot of improvement internally because we will have people on the same page if the people that have been disruptive within the club end up leaving the club. So, make sure that you test your assumptions. If you think Charlie leaving means we're cooked, ask yourself why. Is it that you think he is such an important player? Or maybe it's you think we can't get enough for him in the trade to make it worth it? Whatever it is, try to remind yourself of a couple of things. One, we're all capable of being wrong, and assumptions are just that, assumptions. They are not facts. So if you're getting yourself a bit wound up over an assumption that you've made in your own mind, just remind yourself it's not a fact, and maybe the outcome could play out differently than what you expect. And that brings me to the second good reason to do this activity. You can often be surprised by the outcome of deals. Two examples that popped into my mind when I was preparing for this video is that when Chad Wingard left Port Adelaide for Hawthorn, I think a lot of people expected that he would go back to making All-Australians or at least being a really, really good player, but he never returned to those heights. Port netted a really good amount in the trade period, and they were able to set up their next little successful period, with the trade that they got in return. In addition to that, Jack Crisp, who has played something like 160 straight games for Collingwood, was a set of steak knives in the deal for Dane Beams. You never know how these things are going to pan out, and as a result, it's always good to test your assumptions. I just wanted to get out and do this short video ahead of the trade period because I think it is advice that we can all use from time to time. I'll come back probably over the weekend once the free agency period has started and we have some more information on any compo picks we're going to get. Maybe there's going to be some updates in terms of the players that are rumoured to leave. But the trade period is ultimately, for fans, meant to be fun. If you find yourself not having as much fun, instead of letting it get to you, maybe try one of these three things, see how it makes you feel, and, maybe it can help you to get through what's otherwise quite a stressful period. So, if you like what I'm doing, please give me a like or a subscribe. If you want to engage, push back, agree, disagree, give me any ideas, please leave me a comment. Thanks again for all the recent support. If you want a more thorough preview of the trade period for Carlton, please check out my last video. Another place you can find me is on Blue Sky at Blues Kind Show. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have a relaxing trade period before it kicks off. And as always, go Blues.